knowing your areas for growth, to be able to understand your identity and who you are. What parts of your identity might give you power, might give you like a leg up on some folks because of those pieces of who you are, or what pieces of your identity might be a target for discrimination or oppression in the world.
Right.
And when you can understand who you are through all those different layers, when you can understand your gifts, we are all given gifts. You, depending on what you believe, you can decide where those gifts are given from. But we are given gifts, each and every one of us. And each and every one of us has the, I would say, job, responsibility to try to
Yes.
find those gifts, to try to identify and develop the gifts that we were given. And I think that that's just so important. And I think that that's where it starts. You can't do so much, right? Unless you understand yourself. It's like that funny quote people say, how the heck you gonna love somebody else if you can't love yourself, you know?
Exactly. Yes.
It's the same type of thing. How are you gonna know, understand, listen to, and support others if we can't know and understand ourselves and believe in ourselves, right? Believe in our ability to grow, believe in our ability to change and become better, stronger people, right? That growth mindset that was mentioned earlier. So when we have that ability, when we believe in ourselves and our ability to grow and change, then we can start to really believe and understand other people's ability to grow and change and our ability to maybe help them become the person that they were meant to be, to help them find their gifts and develop those gifts into becoming the person that they were born to be. So I'm going to throw a couple of those points in the chat just because it helps me. I was just going to talk from the heart because you guys know that I do that a lot. But then I had all these thoughts in my head. So I just wrote them down in the 15 minutes before I joined the Zoom. So I'm going to put those in the chat in case they help at all. So know who you are. And this is some of what I mean when I talk about knowing who you are. And then I stole that quote from one of the videos earlier and added that to the bottom. And then the other thing I said that I think is so important. So what's our intent? What is an intent? Can anyone break that down for me or try to explain what an intent is? That's a word you might not hear or use a lot. Can anyone explain what it means? Your intention or your intent?
Maybe like the reason to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom,
Boom.
right? The why. It's the why you do it, right? The reason you do it. In drama, we call that, in art, we call that a motivation, right? What's their
Yeah.
motivation for doing this? In communicating, in writing, or whatever. And so your intention is what you're trying to do. The impact is what is done, right? The impact
Yeah.
actually happens. And those don't always match up. One singer I like put it this way: there's good deeds, there's good actions, and there's good intentions. And sometimes they're as far apart as heaven and hell.
Right.
Sometimes the worst deeds, the worst actions come from sometimes not a horrible intent. The person wasn't trying to harm and hurt other people or push them down in order to get what they wanted, but that becomes the impact. And I'll just say, like we've talked about, that's something that requires work like all throughout life. That even as a grown man who thinks about these all things all the time, I'm thinking about how can I better match up my reason, my why, and then what I actually accomplish. So that when I communicate with others, when I'm trying to build relationships with others, that I can have the impact that I want, that I can make a positive mark in the world. Because sometimes people are trying to do that and they do really horrible things. And so when we are able to reflect on those intentions and then those impacts, it makes us better people. It humbles us. It can allow us to understand empathy when we realize, wow, that's not what I meant at all, but they felt it that way.